What is up, YouTube? Brett Hoover from Rants here. Alright, before I get into the video, I'd just like to say if you enjoy our content here on Rants, please like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. Alright, now to the video. Is Dune the next Star Wars? Is this going to be a franchise that's going to surpass anything that we've ever seen before? Maybe. Maybe. And the reason why I say maybe, and I wouldn't have said maybe after the first 2/3 of the first Dune movie. I would have said without a doubt. This is a literal cinematic masterpiece in all its glory. I'll say that from beginning to end. I thought the last third of that movie was really went at a crawl, but when you look at it and you look at the characters and what they even provided in that, it was still a decent movie. The only problem that I had with Dune was the fact that that last third went to a crawl, and simply it's a movie that cannot stand on its own. I personally do not like movies that do not stand on their own. I really truly don't. I hate movies that depend upon like a trilogy all the way around for that movie to work. I feel like each individual movie in a grand franchise needs to be able to stand on its own. That you need to be able to watch it and decide for yourself how well that movie is as a whole, and not just judge it about the movies that come before it and the movies that come after it. I think that's the way a movie should be judged. That's the reason why I was so critical of The Last Jedi. Because The Last Jedi, it doesn't matter what you think of The Force Awakens or The Rise of Skywalker, because The Last Jedi by itself was utter and total garbage. You can say what you want about the sequel trilogy in Star Wars, but at the end of the day, it means nothing to me. Because The Last Jedi was an epic disaster. An epic disaster that ruined that whole sequel trilogy. Do I like a lot of the things that they did throughout that trilogy? No, I do not. I thought The Rise of Skywalker, if The Last Jedi was a disaster, I thought The Rise of Skywalker was just a slap in the face of Star Wars fans in a lot of ways, simply by the way that they took the source material and completely just destroyed everything that is Star Wars related. I mean, it just Palpatine basically winning the day because his granddaughter took over the name of Skywalker. So yeah, that's our Skywalker legacy from now on. It's garbage. That being said, as a Star Wars fan, I am incredibly jealous of this Dune movie, because that is the way, with all of Star Wars glory, that is, as a Star Wars fan, we want in a movie. We want a movie like what this Dune movie was. This Dune movie was beautiful. This Dune movie had the right characters for the parts. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. It did everything that it was supposed to do, and it did it perfect. That last third of it, I can complain all day about it, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that the characters were bad. It was just that was a part of this, the movie, and, during that part of the story, that it really couldn't have done anything different in a lot of different ways. But my biggest problem that I have with this Dune movie is simply that I won't say that it's going to be like Star Wars. Is it just can't stand alone. It is almost begging by the time you get to the end of it for a second one to be made. It almost feels like it ends on this weird part simply because to make Dune fans beg for a second half. Like, go out and see it. Tell all your friends to come out and see it, because if we don't have a second part, this first one's going to be completely and totally useless. And that'll be true. No one, if there isn't a second part to this, no one's going to go back and watch this movie. You might see it in, like, film school or something like that, about how beautiful, about how a director should make a film. But besides that, no fan of Dune is going to go back and even watch this film simply because of the way it ends, and simply because it would be too hurtful the way that it ended for them to even go back and waste their time on it. And that's really sad because, like I said, this movie is brilliant. This is what, as a Star Wars fan, that we've been wanting. Because let's face it, even the original trilogy, say what you want, great story about it. It looks bad. It doesn't look good. The prequels look better, but the story sucked. The sequels were just a disaster in Star Wars. This Dune film is what us Star Wars fans want in ours. So yes, I am a little bit jealous of it. But do I think that Dune will actually live up to the expectations of Star Wars? Do I think that it's going to be the next big franchise moving forward? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I say just maybe because look, it all depends upon the second movie. If it's just this movie all the way around, no, I don't think it will. And it depends upon how good that second movie actually is. If it's as good as the first one, you know what? We might be seeing something that we haven't seen since really the original trilogy in Star Wars. Something that Dune fans are just going to absolutely go crazy about. And you're going to have a whole new fan base that is going to just blow anything out of the water, including Star Wars and Star Trek, in my personal opinion, simply because Dune had a group of fans already that were psyched to see this movie. And then when the average moviegoer sees to see this movie, they're intrigued about this world. And they're like, okay, there's a second one, I'm definitely going to go see it. I don't think there's very many people that are going to look at this Dune movie and say, you know what, I'm done with this franchise. How many times as a Star Wars, like I said, in Star Wars or Star Trek, you've seen fans go, that was a garbage movie, why do I even bother? Like, that's the way a lot of us feel. Whether you're a Trekkie or whether you're a Star Wars fan, you feel that way in a lot of ways. Dune fans will not get this. Not only will Dune fans not get this, but get that way, they'll be excited for the second movie. They'll be excited for, the average fan goer to actually go and see this movie. Because they'll be proud of what they see on screen and know that the average person is going to be excited to see this movie, and they're going to be a Dune fan after they see this movie. But it all depends on how well it does in theaters. So let's go. Let's look at this. Let's see how it actually is doing in theaters. It says there are still a lot of factors to consider if we ever get a Dune Part 2. Maybe David Lynch can step in at fast-pace the story 2 years like he did during the Arrakis uprising of 1984. Villeneuve, I always get his name wrong, sorry if I'm butchering it, $165 million budgeted film has grossed another $160 million internationally to date and will probably become just the 8th studio production to gross over $300 million globally this year, and just the 9th since the pandemic began. And if Jungle Cruise can already confidently announce a sequel, despite doing only $213 million worldwide to date, which Jungle Cruise is actually a good movie, maybe Part 1's true fans will get the Part 2 they deserve. And I'll say this, Dune fans out there, you deserve a Part 2. I think this movie, by what it has grossed, deserves a Part 2. It would be almost a crime not to have a Part 2. Really, truly would be. It would be an absolute and total crime for Dune. As beautiful and as amazing, this director is like next gen. Like, he's on a different level than any director I've seen. And I'm saying this. I'm not going in this as a Dune fan necessarily. But I'm telling you, after you see this movie, you're just going to go, if you haven't seen it already, you're going to go, crap, this is like something I've probably never seen before. I mean, you might find that hey, the movie does have its faults, and it does have its faults. It's not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but man, is it beautiful, and man, do those actors and actresses do exactly what they're supposed to do, and man, they make this an interesting story. So yes, do I believe that Dune will do be the next great franchise? I think it's very quite possible that it can, but you know what? At this point, this is just the first one. If it doesn't get a second one, then yeah, this is going to be a movie no one's ever going to go back and see. Unless you're in like film studio or film theory class, that's about the only thing time that you would probably watch this movie. But that being said, if they make a second part to this, this could blow it, Star Wars and Star Trek out of the water. I really do believe that. And you know what? As much as I'm a Star Wars fan, I almost hope that it kind of does, simply so that Star Wars will get its act together and realize, you know what, we're not just living on name alone anymore. We're actually going to give fans what they want, what they deserve. Like what they did with Dune. It's always going to be, that's always going to be the key now. It's going to be like what they did with Dune. Because Dune fans got what they deserved. They got a quality, great movie. And I'm proud for them. I'm proud for them. But as always, guys, let me know what y'all think. Do you think Dune is going to be the next big franchise? Do you think it's ever going to live up to Star Trek, Star Wars fame? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.